It was a huge day in the state of Arkansas. It's a huge day for the University of Arkansas. It wasn't huge because they unveiled their new name, image, and likeness plan, and it's a good one. And it was a good day for that, but not just because of that. It wasn't a big day because they changed the futures of many student athletes' lives. It wasn't just a big day because of that. They changed the future of their program, too, for that matter. It wasn't a big day just because of that. No, Arkansas had the good sense to, like many a program before them, put our show in the hype video release for this new venture. Let's take a look, and then I'll talk on the other side.
Now, those numbers matter more than ever.
Name, image, and likeness. You need to view this as an opportunity.
We are the flagship university of the state. This is the flagship program for our student athletes.
Hat tip, University of Arkansas, official friends of the program now. I don't know how much plainer I can put it. We do play favorites around here. Most people do. They lie about it. We don't lie. We don't cover it up. We don't hide it. We play favorites. South Carolina put us in their hype video, played us in the stadium during the spring game a couple of weeks ago. Friends of the program. Woo Pig, they put us in their promotional video for name, image, and likeness release. Friend of the program. Just like that. Don't let them be the last. Don't, because there's going to be a cutoff at some point. At some point, the room's going to get full, but it's not full yet. There is room for not all, but there are room for more. So we play favorites here, yes. But did you notice something in that video there that Jesse just played? Good old-fashioned SOT in the industry. He played that video, and yeah, it was great that we were in there, but on a much more serious note, I've mentioned Arkansas. When I've hypothetically talked about name, image, and likeness, you guys have heard me do this before. There are a few schools that I throw out there if I'm just using random examples, but you've probably noticed, several of you Arkansas fans have, I always throw Arkansas in there. It's not by accident. I've been in communication with them for a while about this, and some people in the know behind the scenes there about what their plans are for name, image, and likeness. You see, everyone's got their angle on this, and everyone's hurrying to get their approach out public and their hype video and their plan, and let's get it out there so that people can talk about it like we're doing right now. You get us to talk about it by putting us in your hype video, plain as day. But people are going to have different approaches, and people are going to emphasize different things. When I've been talking about Arkansas, it's because I thought they had an approach that was going to be fairly unique unto anyone else. And sure enough, we saw their release today. You can see it in its entirety on the school's website. But we saw their release, and there was something in that little 30-second clip that Jesse just played. That wasn't the whole video, but that 30-second clip, they were the names J.B. Hunt, Tyson, Walmart, Pepsi. You guys have probably heard of a few of those companies. Walmart, they probably have one or two in your state. That's the first that you've seen of that, isn't it? You've seen a lot of these releases. That's the first you've seen of direct inclusion of major brands. So far, the approach from many programs that I also think have done a good job is focused on the brand building itself and using various platforms. Arkansas is using some of these too to focus on building your brand. But thus far, that direct attribution in videos of saying, hey, Walmart, Tyson, J.B. Hunt, trucking company, for those unfamiliar, hopped many of their intermodal containers in the past. We've got them on board. You know, that's why I kept mentioning Arkansas. See, a lot of people thought I was crazy because a lot of people think that it's all about the current Tier 1 programs. The current big boys are just going to further distance themselves. Ohio State's going to be great with this. Yeah, Bama's going to be great with it. Yeah, they absolutely are. They're going to be great with anything because they're great at adapting and adjusting to the current climate. But I've told you about NIL, and I will continue to tell you, this is the start of the example that I have looked forward to with Arkansas. Arkansas is one of potentially a few programs that don't take down any Tier 1 teams. But this is opening a door that's never been opened before for access potentially for maybe one program or maybe 7 or 8 new programs to ascend to Tier 1 or Tier 2 status. Don't focus on their current setting. Don't focus on current results. If you've got culture figured out, which they do at Arkansas, and if you've got future and vision figured out, there is not a ceiling right now on how far you can go. A lot of you are having trouble with this. You can't picture Arkansas being a serious contender because you haven't seen them be a serious contender in your lifetime. That's because that was in the world that existed 5 years ago. We're looking at the world 5 years down the road. It's going to be radically different. And having some of those names on board and having the people that I know are at the helm of this particular venture with Arkansas, it's a statement. It's a statement in many ways. I want to read a very, very brief portion of, ironically, the statement they put out today. Through their marketplace, no cap, it's an acronym, it's one of the services they're using, we'll also be able to connect Arkansas student athletes with businesses locally, regionally, nationwide, and globally to help maximize the student athletes' potential partnerships. I'm being recruited by Arkansas. All I heard was, you can help me partner with some of those brands that you just flashed right before my eyes. That's a lot of potential. It's a lot of potential. So think about the resources. Moving forward, Arkansas and otherwise, think about the resources that certain programs have at their disposal. This could be a serious breath of life for programs like, let's say, Stanford on the West Coast, depending on how committed they are. Stanford has got half a dozen of the biggest tech companies on planet Earth right in their backyard, and all those grads from Stanford work there. Who's to say that they don't get their teeth into that portion of this the way that Arkansas is doing with the resources they have in their backyard? Listen, I know at the end of the day, it's hard to connect all this. Don't worry about it. If you're an Arkansas fan, if you're in Fort Smith right now, and you're listening to this, you don't have to know what all these acronyms mean. You're not running the program. It doesn't matter. What you have to know is, today, Arkansas took a giant step closer to being able to contend in major college football than they were yesterday, given what the existence had been. This is what it will be, not so much what it has been. People's expectations are going to be built based on what it has been. Your expectations and future perception of reality needs to be built on what it could be. And what it could be at Arkansas is something really special.